Welcome to the deep dive. We take a whole stack of sources, pull out the key insights, and basically get you up to speed fast.
That's the idea.
And today, we're diving into the world of John D. Rockefeller, a figure whose wealth, well, it's almost hard to wrap your head around today.
It really is.
Imagine being worth more than Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos combined.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the modern-day equivalent of Rockefeller's peak net worth. We're talking an estimated $318.3 billion. It's truly mind-boggling, isn't it?
Absolutely staggering. But what's also fascinating, beyond just the sheer scale of the money, is that Rockefeller himself is still kind of an enigma.
Totally.
His reputation just swings so wildly, doesn't it? On one side, you hear criminal, robber baron.
A classic labels.
Exactly. And on the other side, philanthropic saint. It's quite the contrast. You've got deep admiration and, well, fierce criticism, all aimed at the same guy.
And our goal today in this deep dive isn't really about sticking another label on him.
No, not at all.
It's more about trying to, extract the lessons, the timeless stuff behind his incredible success.
Exactly. Because how did he do it? You look at background, starting as a 16-year-old bookkeeping clerk back in 1855.
Just 16.
And then somehow he becomes the world's first billionaire by 1916.
Right.
Makes you wonder, how does, the pious son of a literal snake oil salesman build an empire like that?
Right. It's an amazing story, and we're going to unpack not just his personal qualities, his leadership style, but also a whole formal system, the Rockefeller Habits.
Yes, the habits.
Which were directly inspired by his really disciplined way of doing things. And companies, big companies, still use this stuff today to grow massively.
I absolutely do. And for this deep dive, we've got some great source material, insights from articles like 5 Lessons All Leaders Can Learn from John D. Rockefeller, another one, 9 Lessons from John D. Rockefeller's Life, and How to Use Rockefeller Habits for Your Business.
Good stuff.
Plus, we're drawing a lot from summaries of Ron Chernow's big biography, Titan. It gives a really nuanced picture.
Yeah, Chernow's fantastic.
And also Vern Harnish's book, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits, which is, super influential in the business world.
Right. And we'll even touch on a modern titan, Warren Buffett, just to see how these principles kind of hold up over time.
It shows they're not just about one person, right?
Yeah.
They're enduring ideas.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's unpack this. Starting with the man himself, John D. Rockefeller, the architect of order, as some call him.
A good title.
His journey kicks off with this incredible, almost obsessive personal drive. He's just 16, it's 1855, and he is dead set on getting a job at what he called a respectable business.
Respectable, right, not just any job.
Exactly. And his job hunt was something else. It's a real testament to his sheer will. He'd put on his best suit 6 days a week, hitting the pavement, walking into offices.
Rain or shine, presumably?
Oh, yeah. Always asking to speak to the highest man in the office. He got rejected constantly, apparently. Just door after door slammed. But his persistence was just unwavering. What does that tell you about him, even back then?
Well, it screams innate persistence, doesn't it? Like a stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
But also, for a teenager, a remarkable strategic focus.
Yeah, strategic is the word.
One source really highlights that September 26th, 1855, the day he finally landed that first bookkeeping job, was huge for him.
His job day.
Exactly. He celebrated job day for the rest of his life with, and this is a quote, more genuine brio than his birthday.
Wow.
One source even says his real life began that day. So it wasn't just about getting paid. It was about that crucial first step into the world he wanted to be in.
A very deliberate step.
Totally. He started out as a produce dealer, actually. Did pretty well supplying the Union Army during the Civil War.
Ah, okay.
But then as the war was ending, he saw this massive opportunity in oil refining and just pivoted. That early relentless drive wasn't just about finding work. It was about positioning himself for something, well, much bigger.
It's amazing to think that this meticulous bookkeeper with that kind of focus would become, the Rockefeller. And speaking of titans, that brings us to that really interesting duality in how people see him.
Right, the split perception.
On one side, he's the classic robber baron, right? Ruthless, crushed the competition, built a monopoly.
The narrative many people know.
But then on the other side, he's the philanthropic saint who gave away fortunes, basically inventing modern philanthropy.
Yeah, and Chernow's book, Titan, really pushes back against seeing him as just one or the other. It argues against that sort of one-dimensional caricature.
It paints a more complex picture.
Exactly. Chernow sees him as driven, yes, by ambition, but also by this deep belief that he was bringing order to the oil industry,
Hmm.
which back in the 19th century was incredibly chaotic.
Like the Wild West, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Volatile, inefficient, cutthroat. Rockefeller genuinely saw himself as the guy bringing stability and efficiency. But here's where it gets really interesting, according to the sources. His driving why.
Okay.
He was deeply religious, a devout Baptist, and he truly believed that God gave him the gift of making money.
A gift from God.
Yeah, for the good of my fellow man. That was his perspective. He famously said he knew of nothing more despicable and pathetic than a man who devotes all the hours of the waking day to the making of money for money's sake.
Huh. So it wasn't just about accumulating wealth for himself.
Not in his mind, apparently. This profound sense of purpose, maybe even divine purpose, fueled both his relentless business drive and his later massive philanthropy. It was like he saw himself as a steward of that wealth.
That definitely adds another layer, doesn't it? It kind of reframes his aggressive tactics, at least from his viewpoint, a sort of moral justification, perhaps.
It certainly seems that way. And this conviction wasn't just talk. It directly led to what we now think of as modern philanthropy.
Yeah.
His giving wasn't random.
No impulse donations.
Not really. It was highly strategic. He literally applied the same principles, efficiency, large-scale organization, systemic thinking that built Standard Oil to his charitable work.
So like business planning, but for giving away money.
Exactly. He had advisors, experts. He wanted to address the root causes of problems, not just symptoms. Over his life, roughly 1855 to 1934, he gave away over $530 million.
Which was an astronomical sum back then.
Unbelievable. And it established these incredibly impactful foundations. You've got the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, now Rockefeller University, which has produced, get this, 26 Nobel laureates.
26! Wow.
Yeah, huge advances in science and medicine came out of there. Then there's the Rockefeller Foundation. Its mission since 1913, to promote the well-being of humanity throughout the world. Still going strong.
Still the same mission.
Unchanged, focusing on global health, agriculture, economic opportunity. He also funded major institutions like the University of Chicago and the Johns Hopkins School of Hygiene and Public Health, which basically pioneered public health as a field.
So real systemic impact.
Absolutely. His money-funded research that led to vaccines for meningitis, yellow fever, it helped wipe out hookworm in the American South, which was a massive problem.
Okay, so this raises a really interesting question, doesn't it, for us and for you listening. How does having such a clear, deeply felt why, that driving purpose, how does that influence not just, the scale of what you can achieve?
But also the resilience, right? The long-term vision needed for that kind of leadership.
Exactly. It seems like it provides this bedrock, this foundation to push through all the criticism and obstacles that would just stop someone purely driven by profit.
It has to. It gives you that staying power.
Which is a perfect segue into part 2, Rockefeller's personal playbook, the core principles he operated by, starting with that incredible persistence and strategy in reaching his goals.
We touched on the job hunt, but it really is the prime example, that stubborn determination in the face of just constant rejection.
Yeah, most people would have given up after a week.
Or less. But his approach was so calculated. He wasn't just wandering around. He was focused on something big, dressing professionally, planning his targets.
He had a list, right?
A meticulous list. He'd map out the businesses, go in, ask for the top person. It shows a plan. He wasn't just hoping, he was strategizing. The sources say when he finished his list, he'd just start over, hitting the same firms again, maybe refining his pitch.
That's incredible discipline.
It teaches a huge lesson, doesn't it? Be specific about your goals, challenge yourself, aim high, and then, crucially, develop a precise strategy to get there. Have a plan and stick to it, even when it gets tough. That's resilience in action.
Resilience and strategy combined. Okay, next in his playbook. Obsessive efficiency and frugality.
The numbers guy.
Exactly. His time as a bookkeeper gave him this deep respect for numbers. He apparently viewed ledgers as sacred books.
I love that phrase.
And Standard Oil becoming this behemoth wasn't really about, slick marketing or anything. It was built on relentlessly cutting waste and saving costs. Every penny counted.
This is absolutely central to his operational genius. A perfect example is vertical integration. Think about oil barrels back then. Made of oak, expensive, often hard to get.
Right, a key supply.
So instead of just buying them, Rockefeller thought, wait a minute. He bought timber forests. He manufactured his own lumber. He built his own cooperages to make the barrels.
We controlled the whole chain.
The entire supply chain. Cut out the middlemen. And the result, the cost of a barrel plummeted. from like $9.59 in 1860 down to just 77 cents by 1890.
77 cents. That's insane.
It gave Standard Oil this massive, unbeatable cost advantage. They could lower prices, drive out competitors, scale up. It wasn't really about predatory pricing initially. It was about being so efficient, nobody could touch them on cost.
And you see echoes of this today, right? This intense focus on efficiency and frugality,
Yeah.
like with Warren Buffett.
Oh, Buffett is the perfect modern parallel. His personal frugality is legendary, living in the same house since the 50s, the McDonald's
The
breakfast.
$3.17 breakfast, yeah.
But it extends to his business philosophy, too. Value investing, buying solid companies for less than they're worth, reinvesting profits back into Berkshire Hathaway instead of paying big dividends.
It's about making the money work harder.
Exactly. It's not about being cheap for its own sake. It's about maximizing value, financial independence, long-term compounding. It shows how that frugal, efficient mindset can permeate everything, from personal habits to huge corporate strategy. Avoid waste, focus on value. It's timeless.
It really is. Okay, moving on. Rockefeller was also apparently a master of strategic communication and, maybe surprisingly, humility.
The quiet power.
Right. He famously used silence, controlled his emotions, rarely gave interviews, kept people guessing. This sort of mysterious air actually increased his influence, made him a really tough negotiator because he listened more than he talked.
Let the other guy fill the silence.
Exactly. You don't know what he's thinking, but the humility part is fascinating too.
Yeah.
Despite being arguably the most powerful man in the world at his peak, his own employees called him the sponge.
The sponge. Why?
Because he'd walk around his refineries, his offices with a notepad, constantly asking questions, talking to clerks, laborers, managers, didn't matter their rank. He genuinely wanted their perspective.
Soaking up information.
Totally. And get this. In boardroom meetings, he'd apparently give the seat at the head of the table to the person he disagreed with the most.
Seriously, why would he do that?
His reasoning was he wanted to balance the room rather than control it. It was a strategy. It encouraged diverse ideas, showed respect, and probably gave him insights his echo chamber competitors were totally missing. Active, humble listening as a leadership tool.
That's actually brilliant. A very counterintuitive move.
Isn't it? He also showed this strong commitment to continuous learning and what he called the superpower of focus.
Learning from everything, even the negative.
Yeah, like with his own father. His dad was apparently a bit of a cad, unreliable, often absent. Rockefeller consciously decided he would not be like that. He strove to be a better father, a better husband. He turned a negative example into a positive lesson for himself.
That takes self-awareness, using adversity as fuel.
And beyond the personal, he deeply understood the power of concentration. He asked this great rhetorical question once. Do not many of us who fail to achieve big things fail because we lack concentration, the art of concentrating the mind on the thing to be done at the proper time and to the exclusion of everything else?
Oh, that is home today, doesn't it?
Totally. In our world of constant pings, notifications, multitasking, that ability to just focus, to concentrate deeply on one thing is becoming incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. A superpower, like he said.
A modern superpower for sure. Hard to cultivate.
Definitely. And the last piece of his personal playbook we'll touch on, focusing on strengths and delegating weaknesses.
Knowing what you're good at and what you're not.
Exactly. Rockefeller knew his talents: organization, strategy, finance. He didn't waste time trying to master stuff he wasn't cut out for or where you could hire someone better. His famous quote, I never felt the need of scientific knowledge. I can always hire scientists.
Huh. Okay, blunt, but makes sense.
It's a critical insight for any leader, right? Maximize your impact by leveraging the expertise of others. Don't try to be the smartest person in the room on every topic. Build a team where people excel in their specific areas.
It's about orchestrating talent, not just having talent yourself. A fundamental shift from doing to leading.
So if you take all these personal principles, the persistence, the efficiency, the strategic communication, the learning, the focus, the delegation, what does that mean for, building something bigger, like a business?
Well, it leads directly into part 3, the Rockefeller Habits, this formal system for business growth.
Right, the system formalized by Vern Harnish.
Exactly. Management consultant Vern Harnish studied Rockefeller's disciplined methods and distilled them into his book, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. And this system is credited with helping, apparently, over 70,000 companies scale up. We're talking multi-million, even billion-dollar businesses.
70,000, that's a huge impact.
It's massive. And Harnish boils down Rockefeller's approach to a really simple core formula. It's Clear vision, your goals, plus discipline, your routines. Success.
Vision plus discipline.
That's the essence. And he argues it's absolutely critical because, think about it, a clear vision, but no disciplined routines. You
Yeah.
stall out, you have great ideas, but no execution.
Right. Lots of talk, no action.
And the flip side, routines without a clear vision. You end up just spinning your wheels. Busy work, maybe, but you're not actually going anywhere meaningful.
No.
The magic happens, the exponential growth, when the whole team gets the vision and has those clear, disciplined habits to make it real.
The synergy of purpose and consistent action makes sense.
But Harnish also points out there are these three big barriers that companies hit when they try to grow, especially when scaling from small business to what he calls a gazelle.
The gazelle.
Yeah, his term for a company growing at least 20% a year for 4 straight years.
Okay, so fast, sustained growth.
Right. And apparently only about 4% of U.S. firms actually achieve that. It's tough.
Only 4%. Wow. So what are these barriers?
Barrier number 1. The executive team itself needs to grow. Specifically, leaders have to get much better at delegating effectively and predicting future challenges and needs.
Letting go of control.
Exactly. So many founders struggle with this. They're used to doing everything, being involved in every detail. They worry quality will drop or things won't get done right.
If you want it done right, do it yourself trap.
Precisely. But there's a great quote from Jug Harrison, CEO of the scooter store. He said, "If you can't afford the people to run the business for you, then all you have is a job, not a business."
Ouch. That's blunt.
But true, right? If the
Yeah.
founder is stuck in the day-to-day weeds, they can't do the high-level strategic thinking, the vision stuff, that only they can do to really scale the company. Delegating early and well is crucial.
Got to free yourself up to lead. Okay, barrier 1 is leadership growth. What's 2?
Barrier 2, you need better systems and structures to handle the complexity that just explodes as you grow. Going from, say, 5 people to 20 or 50 or 500, the informal ways you use to communicate and operate just completely break down.
Yeah, hallway conversations don't cut it anymore.
Not at all. You need more sophisticated systems for everything: accounting, IT, customer service, internal comms, project management, the works.
So formalizing things.
Right. And the sources suggest using 3 specific types of organizational charts to manage this. First, an accountability chart. This isn't your standard org chart showing who reports to whom.
How's different?
It clearly assigns a single person who's ultimately responsible for every function, every process, every key metric. The rule is, if more than one person is accountable, nobody really is. This clarity forces ownership.
Okay, clear ownership. Makes sense. What else?
Second, develop 4 to 9 work process charts. These map out your critical workflows in detail. How you onboard a customer, how you handle an invoice, how a product goes from idea to launch. Standardizing these core processes is vital for consistent quality and efficiency as you scale.
So everyone knows the right way to do the important stuff.
Exactly. And third, what Harnish calls an almost matrix. It's not a full, complicated matrix structure, but a simpler chart to clarify roles when you have, say, both central functions, like marketing, and specific business units that also need marketing support. It defines who makes which decisions to avoid confusion or conflict.
Got it. Managing the intersections. Okay, so leadership growth, systems, and structure. What's the third barrier?
Barrier 3, navigating market dynamics. Your priorities have to change as your revenue grows. Early on, maybe $0 to $1 million. It's all about just getting revenue in the door, proving the concept. Survival.
Finding product market fit.
Right. Then, in that $1 million to $10 million stage, companies often burn through cash rapidly. You're investing heavily in growth, figuring out your market position, maybe making some bets.
High growth, high burn phase.
Can be, and that's risky if you're not managing cash flow carefully. Then, above $10 million, a new danger emerges. Organizational complexity can actually start growing faster than revenue.
Getting bureaucratic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Management attention gets pulled inward, internal meetings, processes, politics, right when you most need to be focused outward on the market, on customers, on competitors. So successful scaling means constantly adapting your priorities, delegating well, building systems, and staying laser focused on the external market. It's a continuous juggling act.
It sounds exhausting. So how do the Rockefeller habits help navigate all this?
Well, Harnish identifies 3 foundational habits that cut across all these challenges. They underpin the whole system. The first is priorities.
Focus again.
Absolute focus. Clear, critical priorities must drive every decision. The system recommends setting maybe top 5 company priorities for the quarter, but then, and this is key, identifying the top 1 of 5 critical goal, the single most important thing.
The one thing that matters most right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It forces ruthless prioritization, stops you from spreading yourself too thin.
Okay, makes sense. Foundational habit 2.
Data. You need real-time feedback. Metrics. You can't just run on gut feeling, especially as you grow. You need to know objectively if you're actually making progress on those priorities.
I'm sure what matters.
Right. And the sources talk about two kinds of data. Smart numbers, these are often complex ratios that give you foresight, long-term insight into business health, some leading indicators,
Like customer lifetime value versus acquisition costs.
stuff like that. And then critical numbers. These are simpler, short-term metrics directly tied to your top one quarterly priority. The one or two numbers that tell you if you're winning this quarter. Both are vital.
Got it. Priorities, data, and the third foundational habit.
Rhythm. A disciplined rhythm of regular meetings. This keeps everyone aligned, accountable, and ensures information flows smoothly.
Ah, meetings, everyone's favorite topic.
Huh. But these aren't supposed to be endless, pointless meetings. They're structured, purposeful interactions, from quick daily huddles up to strategic annual planning sessions. This rhythm is like the heartbeat of the organization, keeping everything synchronized and moving forward.
Okay, so priorities, data, rhythm, the foundation. Now let's get into the specific 10 Rockefeller habits. This is like the detailed checklist, right?
Exactly. Habit 1. The leadership team is healthy and aligned.
Starting at the top.
Absolutely critical. This is the bedrock. If the leadership team isn't functioning well, forget about the rest. Leaders have to lead by example.
So what does healthy and aligned actually mean in practice?
Harnish's checklist is pretty specific. It means team members genuinely understand and appreciate each other's differences and strengths. They meet regularly, ideally weekly, for real strategic thinking, not just status updates. They commit to ongoing executive education, learning together. And, crucially, they can have constructive debates.
Healthy conflict?
Yes, where people feel safe, disagreeing, challenging ideas, all built on a foundation of trust. If there's no trust, if people avoid accountability, if they snipe behind each other's backs, that's a dysfunctional team, and it has to be fixed first.
Makes total sense. Fix the foundation before building the house. Okay, habit 2. Everyone is aligned with the #1 quarterly priority.
This takes that foundational priorities habit and makes it operational for the whole company. It's about focusing everyone's energy.
How do you actually achieve that alignment across the board?
Through those quarterly strategy sessions, that's where you decide on that single clear goal for the next 90 days. Not a wish list, the goal. This involves setting that measurable, critical number that defines success for the quarter.
Like increase customer retention by 5%.
Exactly. And also creating a motivating quarterly theme, a catchy slogan or phrase that rallies everyone. Remember the ice cream shop example. If the goal is selling $20 in cakes, the theme could be "Cake It Happen."
Huh, I like it. Cheesy, but memorable.
Right. And you tie a clear reward to hitting the goal, a team bonus, a celebration. The key is transparency. Everyone needs to understand the goal, why it matters, and how their specific job contributes to hitting that number. That creates shared purpose.
Focus and motivation. Got it. Habit 3. Information moves quickly and accurately. This ties into the rhythm habit, right? The communication flow.
Precisely. Communication breakdowns are killers. They cause frustration, mistakes, rework, kill trust. The solution isn't more meetings, it's better, more structured communication. A disciplined rhythm.
So what does that rhythm look like?
It starts with daily huddles. Short, like 5-15 minutes. Stand up maybe at an odd time, like 8:08 a.m., so it feels different.
Keeping short and sharp.
It's exactly. Cover 3 things quickly. What's up? Priorities for the day. Daily measures. Quick check on key numbers. And where are you stuck? This last one is crucial for identifying and clearing roadblocks immediately.
So problems get surfaced and hopefully solved fast.
That's the idea. Then you have weekly meetings. Longer, maybe 60-90 minutes for executive teams. These have a set agenda too. Start with good news. Review those smart numbers, the leading indicators. Discuss customer and employee feedback. And then dedicate a good chunk, maybe 30 minutes, to a deep dive on one specific rock or quarterly priority. You rotate the topic each week.
So you tackle big issues systematically, not all at once.
Right. Makes it manageable. Beyond that, you have monthly meetings, maybe 2-4 hours with a broader management group focusing on learning, deeper financial review, process improvement. And finally, quarterly and annual meetings. These are longer, multi-day sessions for strategic planning, focusing on those 4 decisions: strategy, execution, people, cash. This whole rhythm ensures alignment from top to bottom and bottom to top.
It's a whole system of communication pulses. Okay, habit 4. Every area has a person accountable for goals. Back to ownership.
Yes, and it's non-negotiable, that principle. If more than one person is accountable, no one is. This habit demands absolute clarity. Every function, every process, every key metric needs one person's name next to it. They own it.
What does that achieve practically?
It fosters huge ownership and engagement. When you know something is yours to deliver, you take initiative, you care more, you make sure it gets done right. It prevents things falling through the cracks because everyone assumes someone else is handling it. It just eliminates ambiguity.
Crystal clear responsibility. Okay, habit 5. Employees have ongoing input to identify obstacles, getting feedback from the front lines.
Hugely important. Your employees doing the day-to-day work, talking to customers, they often know what's broken or inefficient way before management does.
So how do you get that input reliably?
Managers need to actively solicit it. Regular, maybe weekly, one-on-ones or team meetings where you specifically ask questions like, what should we stop doing? What should we start doing? What should we keep doing? And critically, it has to be a judgment-free zone.
Create psychological safety.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
People need to feel safe raising problems. Remember Michael Dell's hour of horror meetings. Employees listed problems, then they brainstormed solutions together. No blame. The source also recommends the 5 whys technique here.
Asking why 5 times to get to the root cause.
Exactly. If sales are down, don't just blame the team. Ask why. Maybe leads are down. Why? Maybe marketing changed campaigns. Why? Maybe the message isn't resonating. Why? Maybe customer needs shifted. Why? Maybe a competitor launched something better. It pushes you past symptoms to find the real, often systemic issue. Usually it's a process problem, not a people problem.
Find the what, not the who. Smart. Habit 6. Customer feedback data is collected and analyzed, bringing the outside view in.
Yes, treat customer feedback with the same seriousness you treat financial data. It's vital intelligence.
How often should this happen?
Constantly. The habit suggests all employees should be gathering feedback, but especially leaders. The recommendation is for senior execs to personally talk to at least one customer every single week.
Every week, that's a commitment.
It keeps the customer front and center. And that feedback shouldn't just sit in a report. It needs to be discussed regularly in leadership meetings. What are we hearing? What patterns are emerging? How should we adapt our product, our service, our strategy based on this?
Keeps you grounded in reality. Habit 7. Core values and purpose are at the heart of all actions. Back to the why.
Exactly. This operationalizes Rockefeller's deep sense of purpose for a modern company. Your reason for being, purpose, and your guiding principles, values, shouldn't just be posters on the wall.
They need to be lived, right?
Every day. They should guide every decision, who you hire, how you solve problems, which opportunities you pursue. Companies like Atlassian are mentioned as examples, building their culture around values like open company, no bullshit. When faced with a tough choice, the first question is, what do our values tell us to do here? It provides a compass.
Ensures consistency and authenticity. Habit 8. Employees can articulate the company strategy. Everyone needs to know where the ship is heading.
If only the execs know the strategy, you're leaving huge potential on the table. Everyone needs clarity on the big picture to make good decisions in their own roles.
So what specifically should everyone know?
They need to understand the big, hairy, audacious goal, the BHAG, that long-term 10, 25-year dream like Google's original organize the world's information. They need to know who the core customer is, and they need to know the 3 brand promises, the key things your company delivers better than anyone else.
So everyone can give the elevator pitch.
Basically, yes. Having a crisp, clear way to talk about the company's mission and strategy aligns everyone and empowers them to act as ambassadors.
Okay, makes sense. Habit 9. Employees analyze performance quantitatively, giving people their own scorecards.
Right. It's not about micromanaging. It's about empowerment and self-correction. Every employee should have 1 or 2 key weekly KPIs, key performance indicators that measure their contribution.
Things they can directly influence.
Exactly. And ideally, a personal critical number that rolls up and clearly connects to the company's overall quarterly goal. This allows people to see how they're doing objectively. Did I have a good week based on my numbers?
So the manager becomes more of a coach.
Precisely. The manager's job shifts to helping people hit their numbers, removing obstacles, providing resources, celebrating wins. It fosters individual accountability and aligns everyone's efforts towards the main goal.
Drives performance from the bottom up. And finally, habit 10. Company plans and performance are visible to everyone. Transparency.
Simple but powerful. Out of sight, out of mind. If goals, values, themes, and performance dashboards are hidden away, they lose their impact.
So put it everywhere.
Make it highly visible. Posters, Dashboards on screens, dedicated Slack channels, whatever works for your culture. When everyone can literally see the goals, see the progress, see the core values reinforced, it drives engagement, accountability, and that shared sense of we're all in this together.
Hmm.
Keeps everyone on the same page.
Wow. That's a really comprehensive system. 10 habits, all interconnected.
It really is. Very disciplined. But Harnish adds one more layer, what he calls the X factor. This is about truly mastering your market, going beyond just internal discipline.
Okay, the X factor. What does that involve?
It starts with defining your brand promise. This is that core strategic differentiator. What do you promise to deliver to your customers better than anyone else? It has to be measurable, customer-focused, and ideally something that actually causes a bit of internal stress to deliver consistently.
Stress. Why stress?
Because that stress drives excellence. The example given is Intuit's Quicken software. Their promise was ease of use, backed by a measurable guarantee. Unlimited support for a product that only cost $59 back then.
Unlimited support for $59. That sounds like a recipe for losing money.
Exactly. It sounds crazy. But that promise forced them internally to make the software so incredibly easy to use, so intuitive, that people wouldn't need the support. The stress of the promise drove the quality and innovation.
Okay. The promise forces the behavior. Brilliant. What else is part of the X factor?
Defining your sandbox. This is about being really clear on where you choose to play and dominate.
Like your target market.
Yes, specifically defining your desired sphere of influence, geographic reach, customer demographics, product lines, distribution channels. The goal is to carve out a sandbox where you can realistically be #1 or #2. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Focus your dominance.
Strategic focus again. And then there's the real Rockefeller genius part, controlling the bottlenecks.
Yes, the choke points. This was key to Standard Oil's dominance. Early on, Rockefeller realized the real constraint wasn't finding oil or building refineries. It was getting the refined kerosene to market safely and cheaply.
The barrels again.
The barrels, and specifically the iron rings, needed to hold them together. So he bought an iron ring manufacturer. He controlled a tiny but crucial choke point in the supply chain.
That's thinking several steps ahead.
Totally. Later, the choke point became transportation costs, railroads, then pipelines. And he relentlessly focused on controlling those. So the question for any business is, what are your critical choke points? What inputs, technologies, distribution channels, or key talents, if controlled, would give you a massive strategic advantage? Identifying and neutralizing those is key to locking up your market position.
Find the leverage point and control it. That's some serious strategic thinking.
It really is.
And you can absolutely see these principles, efficiency, vertical integration, data, controlling choke points playing out with modern giants, can't you? Like Amazon.
Oh, Amazon is textbook Rockefeller in many ways. Obsessive efficiency in their fulfillment centers. Massive vertical integration, logistics, delivery, Amazon Basics products, AWS cloud infrastructure.
They own so much of the chain.
And their mastery of data to personalize, optimize pricing, understand customers, it's unparalleled. It's allowed them to dominate e-commerce, much like Standard Oil dominated kerosene.
And Tesla too, right, with their approach.
Definitely. Strong vertical integration. They control battery manufacturing with gigafactories, direct sales, bypassing dealers, their own charging network.
End-to-end control.
Yeah, that gives them incredible speed and control over the customer experience in the EV market, a huge edge over traditional automakers tied to complex supply chains and dealerships. It's controlling the ecosystem, controlling the choke points.
It's fascinating how these century-old principles keep reappearing, and it's not just business strategy. His approach to philanthropy, that strategic root cause focus, that really paved the way for modern efforts, didn't it?
Absolutely. Applying business rigor to social problems. You see that legacy clearly in major players today like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, using data, metrics, and systemic thinking to tackle huge global challenges. Rockefeller really created the template for large-scale strategic philanthropy.
So bringing it all together, this deep dive into Rockefeller's life, his principles, the formal habits, what's the big takeaway?
I think it shows that extraordinary success, whether it's building a company or even just achieving personal goals, usually comes down to a disciplined combination of things. A clear purpose, that why. Relentless efficiency. Smart strategy, including identifying those leverage points or choke points. Effective communication to keep everyone aligned. And just a constant commitment to learning and improving. It's about building strong foundations and systematically executing a vision.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Whether you're building a business, trying to get ahead in your career, or maybe just trying to get your own personal goals more organized. There are powerful tools here.
Definitely.
The story of Rockefeller and these habits he inspired, they offer a roadmap. Maybe it's starting daily huddles with your team. Maybe it's finally defining your own big, hairy, audacious goal, personally or professionally. These principles can help turn vision into reality.
And here's maybe a final thought to chew on. In today's world, which is just overflowing with information, endless distractions, constant change, could it be that these simple, timeless disciplines, clarity on priorities, reliance on real data, and maintaining a consistent rhythm, could these be the ultimate competitive advantage?
Not just for businesses, but for individuals too.
Yeah, for anyone trying to make a significant impact and achieve something meaningful in the long run, maybe that discipline is the real X factor.
Something to think about. What one Rockefeller habit will you commit to trying out this week to get one step closer to your own BHAG? Start small, but maybe start today.